Hello and welcome to tonight's LOL Esports Roundup. We're going to cover a lot of games. You notice the board here. There aren't a lot of games on it, and I'll get into that in a second. So we're going to cover LCS games from last night. So that is not right now. Those games, we're talking about week 2, day 1. Then we're going to cover LPL and LCK from this morning. So that's LPL week 4, day 4, LCK week 3, day 2. And then preview LPL Week 4, Day 5, LCK, Week 3, Day 3, and LCS, Week 2, Day 3. That's what we're going to do. Now, you notice there are only LCS games on this board, and there aren't any stats. Well, there are two things with this. One, I forgot to put the LCS games on the board, and the board is filled out without this, and I'm not going to erase the whole board to rewrite it. Two, there are no stats to write anyways, so I could have fit this on that board in hindsight because, I don't know. I don't know why there are no stats. Games of Legend has no stats. Leaguepedia has no stats. Oracle's Elixir has no stats. So, that is unfortunate because I rewatched these games at about 5:30, 6 o'clock this morning, 15 hours ago. So, I'm going to say my mind is not super fresh, so we're going to speed run this entire video. Dignitas Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians win. He was on Rel. He made things happen in team fights. I, recall him going into team fights, getting multi-man ultis, doing his thing. Dignitas are outclassed against Golden Guardians. This is not a shock. Licorice was okay on Jackson top lane. Stixay did his thing. River, Gory do their thing. I mean, I can say all these cliche words and things like that and blow smoke up your ass. But the fact of the matter is, he on the Rel I thought was impactful. I felt like Rel was pretty good today. You can tell the teams that scrimmed each other because Golden Guardians played it, TL played it. And there is probably some value in picking it in, certain matchups. So, GG winning is not a big shock to me. I'm not going to lie. I don't remember a lot about these 5 games. Well, a couple of these games. I do remember the TSM game for specific reasons and 100 Thieves game, but we'll get into that in a second. Team Liquid, NRG. Team Liquid, 18th in the power rankings, would go to 4-0. NRG 1-3. Yeon was MVP on Samira. Diving in and doing very well. One of the better Samira games we've seen in a long time in the LCS. Not a lot of Samira games to really look at over the last few splits. Core on Rel was good. Summit found opportunities to make things happen. Pioshik was solid. NRG just aren't very good. Allowing Luger Poom to go with FBI and Ignar was a bold move because you replaced a bot lane that had been together for years with a bot lane that had not been together at all and putting them into place with 3 other players that were okay on CLG last split. And it just is not the case. It just simply isn't. Team Liquid looking a lot better and playing up to potential now that Reignover's coach and maybe he has a better idea of how to handle things, where Marin had never been a coach before in his life and probably was a little overwhelmed. Not to mention he was in North America. He had not even been imported here as a player. So with that in mind, it probably was a bit of a shock for him as well. Cloud9 FlyQuest, who would have thought we'd be 4-0 and 0-4 after this, huh? Cloud9 win, Fudge MVP on the Kennen. He dives in, he deals damage, he does good things on the Kennen. Berserker on Kesa found impact. Eminez on Nico. Pun intended, he probably did kill impact in this game. Eminez on Nico found opportunities as well as Blabber on Nocturne. Oh, by the way, NRG Contracts played Ivern. That's fun. Regardless, back to Cloud9 FlyQuest. Blabber plays Nocturne. The Nico, also, now you can't see the Nico when the Nocturne is in ulti. You can't see the Nico when the Nocturne is not in ulti because Nico's abilities. I think you're getting my point here. It was a very interesting composition out of Cloud9, and FlyQuest didn't have an answer for it at all. As FlyQuest, the tires are falling off. They're falling off. TSM Immortals. So Insanity was MVP as TSM won. They're both 2-2. He played Graves mid. And after the game, he said, "You just push and you deal damage." His build was sus, to say the very least, but TSM found a way to just simply deal more damage than Immortals, as both team compositions were ass. And both teams not very good, but the fact that they're both 2-2 would indicate to me that that is peak LCS gameplay, that they're both 2-2 and they both have terrible compositions, dealing no damage, a very boring game. Boogie was okay. I thought Wild Turtle was okay at times on the Jinx. He had a long ulti kill, if I recall correctly. And, I mean, it was a game in the LCS. Lastly, 100 Thieves EG. EG win, 24th in the power rankings, 3-1. 100 Thieves 1-3. JoJo was MVP. He set the tone in mid lane, got after Quid, punched him in the mouth in the Ari Azir matchup, and that would just snowball into the jungle, where our Mayo got ahead of closer, and then the rest of the Rift was just a tire fire for 100 Thieves. Quid died like 5 times in the first 16 minutes. One of the worst debuts you're going to see out of an import ever. Hopefully the young player who is making even his pro debut, because he was only a challenger player before, hopefully 100 Thieves and the veteran presence there, aka Double Lift, kind of smooths that over. And someday is old as well. Hopefully he played better today. If I recall, looking at the scoreboard, that didn't happen, but we pretend that we did not see the scoreboard when we do this for the games that just took place, right? Hopefully, I hate the fact that this video is going out when it is. So, in closing with this one, e.g., JoJo dominated the early laning phase. That put Quid into the basement, and then that allowed our Mayo to invade closer, put closer in a big deficit, and the rest of the game was pretty much over after that. One has to wonder if, we saw in comms, Someday didn't talk that much on EG, right? Very quiet player. I think everybody who knows Someday and has followed Someday's career would know he's quiet, right? So if you have Quid, who probably doesn't speak very well English, very good English, or speak English very well. See, I can't even speak English. Then having a quiet player possibly have to translate comms is a diffy there, in terms of team communication. So, not good. Not a good situation. I do want Quid to do well. Obviously, I do believe 100 Thieves, if Quid is at his best, are a Worlds contending team in terms of going to Worlds. Not winning, but going. So, just for his sake, I'd like him to do well, because I thought Quid was a good player in LCK Challenger, and hopefully he turns it around. So, quickly going over the LCS, now on to the other board. Okay, so 90 and 29 in predictions. That includes the LCS games we just went over, and these games here. LPL, IG, Rare Atom win. They're 3-5. IG 1-7 as RA win 2-0. Assume MVP 19-3-7, 35% of damage. Strive 9-13. Cryan 8-6-9, 31% of damage in the loss. Once again, Cryan carrying IG in a loss. Tianzen's Rengar looks awful, but he's a young player. We have to allow him to do his thing. I thought Xiaoju got the better of YS Cam in top lane, solo killing him at one point and also dealing a ton of damage on the Jax. YS Cam did solid in game 2, but it wasn't enough. Strive got around the rift, made things happen. That's why his KDA is nice. Assume in team fights looked really good. There was one moment in top lane in game 2 where he had a triple kill, or maybe it was don't know which game it was. Either, obviously, only 2 games, 1 or 2. But he got a triple kill early on the Jinx, and that allowed him to really, really snowball. Thinking about it now, it was Assume and him in game 2, because Althelios, I think, was game 1, where it was really the Assume and Xiaoju show in this one. As, sometimes they were just all that was left in team fights, dealing damage. RNG, EDG. RNG 17th in the power rankings are 4-4 as they 2-0 EDG, who are 3-5 and 13th. Wei was my MVP. Tangwan 4-11, 27% of damage in the win. Who would have thought Tangwan was going to lead RNG in damage in a game? Breathe 4-1-12 in top lane. Uzi 7-3-0, 30% of damage in the loss. So Uzi at least can come away saying I did my best. in a loss against his obviously former team. Wei gapped JJ. I thought he not only out-farmed him in Game 2 on the Viego, like that was a big diffie. I understand Poppy's a facilitator, but the fact of the matter is there was like a 70 CS diffie there. But also, Wei made more things happen. So making more things happen and more farm, that's a big difference there. Ale, once again, not doing much. Fofo, I think, solo killed Tangwan for one of those two deaths by the mid laner for RNG, but otherwise, Fofo, non-existent. Maybe the whole leave situation is what broke EDG's back for this split. Obviously, before that, they weren't great, but clearly they had issues because leave was tweeting out issues. So, you know, we have two tire fires here, RNG, EDG, and it's a matter of which one is going to make playoffs. I imagine both will. EDG, I would hope, eventually figure it out. Uzi and Mako are too good not to. And JJ, obviously a former world champion, like him to figure it out. So, not a great series out of EDG, to say the least. If the score didn't already scream that at you. Team Wii, OMG. OMG win. They're 9th in the power rankings, now 5-2, as they 2-1 Team World Elite, who are 12th at 4-1. This was the first series where Team Wii actually played a good team. Abel, 14-5-11, 32% of damage, was my MVP on Tristana. All 3 games farmed over 11.5 CS per minute. PP got 2-4-22, so the bot lane went 16-9 and 33. Shanks, 7-3-12, 27% of damage in the loss. He went deathless in his LeBlanc game where he lost. So, Shanji was very active in the death department as Team Wii went after him in one of the games, like really, really went after him. And then the next game, he got a level 1 kill, but Team Wii would end up avenging that on level 2. So in top lane, I thought Shanji was okay, given the fact that Team Wii did go after him as much as they did. Hang looked okay. He did lose a key smite to Aki, in my opinion, I think over a Rift Herald, that would then allow OMG to really start rolling in that game. Don't remember which game it was, but there was a game specifically where Aki did do that, and that was important. In the back of my mind at that time, Abel. I thought Abel was a difference maker, because Cream has not looked good for me in a little while here. And Shanks, I thought, did better than him. And then Hope had some moments where he stood out, but Abel was just better. He out-farmed him. He was fatter in terms of gold and deeper pockets, and it made a difference. PP God and Iwandi. Team Wii played Janna bot lane at one point. Janna is not a pick. That is not a pick. We have not seen anybody do well on it this year in a competitive game where we had 2 competitive teams against each other. So I'm not happy about that, but Team Wii do have to pull a rabbit out of their hat to beat a decent team. I do wonder if this is the start of the wheels falling off for Team Wii now that they played a real squad. LCK, Gen G, second in the power rankings, are now 5-0 as they 2-0 DRX, who are now 0-5. Doran was MVP as he smashed Rascal. Chovy, 9-1-9, 29% of damage in mid. Delight, 1-0-20, would go deathless at support. Fate did play for DRX, as did Juhan. Fate went 0-3-1, 30% of damage in the loss. DRX, slow death here. Excuse me. Gen G, like Doran, was smashing Rascal, like I said. Peanut, more active than Juhan. Juhan just is not LCK level. I was not impressed with him when he was on PSG, let alone now on in the LCK. Chovy, more active than Fate. Obviously, this reminiscent of Spring in terms of Fate leading DRX in damage and a loss with no kills. Bot lane, Paddock. Why are we picking him Draven? That's fair, actually. You coin flip heads, maybe he has a chance, because that is a coin flip champion. Pays and Delight did 2v2 kill that bot lane at one point, and it was not great for DRX. there's not really much to say. Paddock, I think, has slight potential. It's not like that Bulldog potential, but I think he deserves a little bit longer leash here. He's a very young player. Probably should not have been called up. Played very little in Challenger. Kiahu, not even playing anymore. He should be sent down immediately. If you're not playing him, give him stage time against competition where he can actually like compete and develop. KTD plus, KT 8th in the power rankings are 4-1 as they 2-0 plus, who are 10th at 3-2. Keen was MVP, 6-11, 35% of damage. Played Quinn in game 1, Renekton in game 2. Aiming 6-1-13 at 80 carry. Deft 5-5-5, 30% of damage in the loss. Yes, Keen played Quinn. That has a lot to do with his MVP status, as he actually did very well in the final team fight, but was a threat throughout. Game 2, I thought his Renekton found opportunities. I think he solo killed Kana at one point, which is a big deal, why I would make him MVP. Otherwise, I thought BDD got around the rift. He played as Talia, which is one of his signature picks at the moment, where I'm not a big fan of Talia if you don't execute it well, and I feel like BDD utilizes it to the best of what you can offer with his global. Because I feel like if you play a champion like that, you need to get around the rift. I think he played Twisted Fate as well, and that is important. He got around the rift. If you're picking these champions, you have to get around. You have to make things happen. If you do not make things happen, you have blown the advantage for that champion, in my opinion. There are better champions if you want to sit in lane and do nothing. As far as D+ is concerned, yesterday my prediction, I thought Canyon, is Canyon going to do something here? No. Not enough. Not nearly enough. Showmaker didn't do nothing. Deft had some moments where he was able to get a couple kills, but otherwise I felt like he can only do so much. Kana is outclassed in top lane against some of these top laners right now, and I said it before the split. I thought Thanatos should have been playing for D+, and that's coming to fruition now. Sneak peek for tomorrow, LPL, LGD, FPX. Does LGD get to play another cupcake on the schedule? They're 1-7, coming off of a win against Anyone's Legend. FPX 2-5, coming off of a loss to IG. Last time these two teams played, LGD won 2-1. Meteor Jinzhao is the only matchup that holds true from the last time. Meteor Jinzhao versus Hacker Chow Chow is the only matchup that is the same as last time. The LGD duo went 5, 14, and 45 for 505 DPM, 1/4 of the team's damage. Hacker Chow Chow went 9, 15, 36 for 434 and 22%. So actually, the FPX duo did better. Obviously, the supportive roles of jungler and support. Ultra Prime LNG, Ultra Prime 4-3, coming off of a win against Rare Atom. LNG 7th, 5-3, coming off of a loss to BLG. Last time these two teams played, LNG won 2-1. We're going to compare top jungle mid as the bots have changed. Zika Tarzan Scout went 28, 18, and 73 in the win for 1,671 DPM, 65% of the team's damage. Harry Ning Forge went 20, 29, and 36 for 1,415 DPM, so pretty close, 250 difference, but over 3 games, and with these large numbers, that's pretty close. 65% as well, so the same amount of impact on the damage from both sides. Top Esports, JDG, Top Esports 3rd in the power ranking, 7-1, coming off of a win against RNG. JDG 1st in the power ranking, 7-1, coming off of a win against BLG. Last time they played, talking too fast. JDG won 2-0. It's almost like I just froze up on a computer. Maybe somebody was like, oh my god, what happened with my PC? So JDG went 2-0. The only difference was that Wayward is playing now instead of Qingtian. So Knight went 5-3, 13, 21% of damage in mid. Rookie 4-4-4, 31% in the loss. The jungle mid duo did do better for top than JDG if I look at the stats from last time. So I would look at that again, because if top's bot lane can perform, maybe they can upset JDG tomorrow. LCK, Nongshim, KDF. Nongshim 1 and 3 coming off of a loss to D+. KDF 20th in the power rankings, 2 and 3 coming off of a loss to T1. Last time they played, KDF won 2-1. The only matchups that are the same are top jungle. Dudu Youngjae went 7, 13, 35 for 816 DPM, 37% of the damage. Din Din and Sylvie 12, 16, 28 went 7, 37 DPM, 36% as well. So Din Din Sylvie more kills, slightly less damage, but similar impact as Dudu Youngjae. Other series, Live Sandbox HLE, LSB are 2 and 3 coming off of a win against OK Bro. HLE 11th, 2 and 2 coming off of a win against KDF. Last time these two teams played, HLE won 2-1. The only spot that's different is that Teddy is playing for LSB instead of Envy. So we compare mids. Zeka 12, 6, 17 for 28% in the win. Closer was not good at 4, 9, and 19 for 23% in the loss. Birdall led Sandbox in damage in that one. LCS preview. TSM, Golden Guardians, both 2 and 2. Last time they played, Golden Guardians would win in spring. River Stixay Huhi went 13, 5, and 30 for 1,982 DPM, 57% in the win. Boogie Wild Turtle Chime went 5, 12, 11 for 1,109 DPM, so 800 DPM, actually 880 DPM less, 51%, so slightly less impact in the share department, big diffy in the DPM department, jungle, bot lane being much more impactful for Golden Guardians. Immortals 100 Thieves, IMT 2 and 2, 100 Thieves 1 and 3. We're comparing jungle bot lane here. Closer Doublelift went 11, 2, 21, 905 DPM, 47%. Kenvi Tactical went 2, 10, and 6 for less than half of the DPM at 421 and 31%. So the jungle bot laner, not nearly as impactful for Immortals as 100 Thieves were in the game, not only in the just pure damage, but in the share. IMT had damage from elsewhere. TL, EG. Team Liquid, 18th in the power rankings, 4-0. EG, 24th at 3-1. Last time they played, TL would win. A lot of different players for EG. Only one that's the same as mid. So, Harry in the win went 4-5-7, 29%. Jojo Pume, 5-5-8, 30% in the loss. So, we have a top 25 matchup in the LCS. That one should be interesting. FlyQuest Dignitas, FlyQuest 0-4, Dig 1 and 3. Fly won the last time they played. Spica Vikla Prince went 12, 6, 23 for 1,675 DPM, 71%. Santorin Jensen Tomo went 8, 10, 11, 1,330 DPM, so 345 less, and 64%. So less than 2/3 of the damage came from jungle mid 80 carry for Dig. So Rit Armut dealing a larger share of the damage than Impact did for FlyQuest. So that's another matchup where we saw Armut actually dealing more damage than we probably thought at the time. Lastly, NRG Cloud9, NRG 1 and 3, Cloud9 4-0, 15th in the power rankings. Last time these two teams played was 2016, week 8. C9 would win 2-0. Jensen had the most damage, 11, 8, 14, 38%. Sneaky went 14, 2, and 14 in the loss. OHQ for NRG went 11, 2, 9, 32% in the loss. So, that's it for the roundup. This was a shit show. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.